The Lovable Fool. This character usually lacks basic common sense, but makes up for it with a genuinely good heart and an endless supply of misguided optimism. The concept originates from early vaudeville performances and theatrical traditions like commedia dell'arte, where physical comedy and simple misunderstandings were highly valued. What sets this character apart is that their mistakes are rarely malicious, even when they cause major disruptions for the rest of the cast. They matter to a television show because their innocence keeps the stakes relatively low, providing a reliable source of pure comedy that diffuses heavier dramatic moments. The voice of reason. Often referred to as the straight man, this is the grounded, everyday person who finds themselves surrounded by constant chaos. They act as the surrogate for the audience, reacting to the absurdity around them in the exact way a normal person would. Their origin ties directly back to traditional comedy duos of the early 20th century, where one performer needed to carefully set up the situation so the other could deliver the punchline. This figure is entirely essential to the narrative structure, as they anchor the show and prevent the fictional world from spinning entirely out of control. The Quirky Neighbor. These individuals usually live just next door or across the hall and have a habit of routinely barging in without ever knocking. This trope stems from mid-century domestic sitcoms, where the core family unit needed an outside element to regularly introduce new conflicts or strange situations. Because they are unburdened by the emotional weight of the main plot, they function differently than the primary cast members. They are able to drop in, deliver a bizarre anecdote or a highly questionable piece of advice, and leave the scene just as quickly as they arrived. The neurotic overthinker. Turning minor, everyday decisions into catastrophic life events is the hallmark of this particular personality type. They obsess over small social interactions, rigid cleaning schedules, or obscure personal rules that no one else follows. Originating largely from the character-driven, anxiety-focused comedy boom of the late 20th century, they provide a sharp contrast to the more relaxed members of the group. Their primary narrative function is to inflate mundane situations into massive, episode-defining conflicts, reflecting the universal humor found in modern social anxieties. The deadpan snarker. Armed with a relentless supply of sarcastic remarks, this character quietly observes the foolishness of others and comments on it with incredibly dry wit. They rarely show genuine enthusiasm or extreme emotional reactions to anything happening around them. This trope gained massive popularity as television comedy shifted toward more cynical and self-aware writing in the 1990s. They serve as a crucial pressure valve for the writers, effectively deflating tense or overly sentimental moments with a single, well-timed observation that brings everyone back down to reality. The bumbling authority figure. Whether it is a workplace boss, a high school principal, or a local community leader, this character holds significant power but completely lacks the competence to wield it properly. They often rely entirely on their subordinates to keep things running, though they are usually quick to take the credit. This plays heavily on the universal, real-world frustration of dealing with inept management in daily life. By making the person in charge foolish rather than genuinely intimidating, the story allows the underdog protagonist to constantly outsmart the system. The unlucky romantic. Constantly searching for true love, this individual goes on an endless string of disastrous dates and short-lived relationships. They remain eternally optimistic despite facing continuous rejection or dealing with bizarre circumstances on a weekly basis. Historically, they provide a very easy engine for episodic storytelling, as each new episode can seamlessly introduce a temporary partner to drive the plot forward. Audiences naturally connect with their vulnerability and the shared human desire to find companionship, making their eventual success highly satisfying to watch. The meta-commentator. Constantly pointing out the predictable plot lines, absurd coincidences, and repetitive habits of their friend group, this character acts as though they are fully aware they are living inside a television show. Originating from the postmodern, self-referential comedy trends of the late 20th and early 21st centuries, they serve as a clever bridge between the writers and the audience. They rarely break the fourth wall completely, but they lean heavily against it by guessing exactly how a ridiculous scheme will inevitably fail. Their presence rewards media-savvy viewers, allowing the series to employ classic sitcom cliches while simultaneously poking fun at them to keep the humor feeling fresh and intelligent.